Session. I'm excited to be here with you guys today as we let this thing warm up and get going. For those of you that are with me here live today, go ahead and drop a little like, drop a comment, let me know that you can hear me. Today we're going to be talking about turning LinkedIn into a lead machine so you can create meaningful conversations. So, what I'm about to share with you today is exactly how I've been able to really turn this platform into a gold mine for my business over the last 6 years, and how I've helped hundreds of recruiters formally do the same, plus thousands that have joined in on trainings like this before. So what we're talking about today is very proven. It's a great opportunity for you to cut through the noise and get more interaction from both clients and candidates. It's no longer just good enough to have a standard LinkedIn profile. Even having a big network isn't good enough. There's so much more that can be done. And if you don't, if you really feel like you haven't squeezed every ounce out of this platform, then I think you'll get a lot of value out of this training here. So we're going to go ahead and dive, right into the whole thing, and just get down to the fun. I'm not going to fluff you with a bunch of other marketing stuff today. Starting with my least favorite activity, here's the first tip to starting a meaningful conversation, would be commenting and engaging with other people's content. Here's why you want to do it. Okay. How many of you listening, and go ahead and go in the comments and respond to this, but if you are creating content, just in general, don't you like when people comment on your stuff and engage with your stuff? Usually that's what's preventing people from not creating content. So if you could imagine a prospect, whether it be a client or candidate, that goes out and takes some time to create a little bit of content, if you go engage with them, you're going to put yourself into a very favorable light just by commenting, because people like that. They like that reciprocity. So right away, you're able to, just by putting a comment in, put yourself on their radar, and they already kind of view you as valuable and appreciate you. The next layer to this is actually leaving a very thoughtful comment. So really digging into their post and then leaving your thought leadership. And what that does is it not only, again, scratches their back a little bit and gets them fired up about your content or your comment. And now gets to, allows them to see you as being maybe a little bit more of an authority. But if you leave a quality comment, then that can also hit the algorithm, and other people that are engaging on that post can then see your comment as well. And again, we're just driving more exposure. Okay. Believe it or not, based off of somebody else's stuff, there's a couple of things that can happen in terms of turning this into a meaningful conversation. So the first might be, somebody actually then reaching out to you based off of you leaving a really quality, thoughtful comment. Hey, Donnie, I liked what you had to say on XYZ's post. Actually, we're having that same struggle here. Can we talk, type of a thing. The other thing is actually being proactive and reaching out to that individual after you've commented. Maybe you've had a little dialogue. Now go hop in the inbox and say, hey, John, you know what? I just want to follow up again. I really, really appreciated your post. I really liked, the specific points you said about XYZ. One of the things that stuck out is you mentioned ABC challenge. Hey, boom, now go into what you have to offer, right? Or just go in and give them a little bit more love. Again, I'm all about building a relationship here. I might not generate the conversation right away, but I'm going to be all over that person's radar as we move forward. So, tactically, the best way to do this is actually going into Sales Navigator. If you have a Sales Navigator account, if you go into the lead filters, one of the filters in there is what they call spotlights. So yeah, you would put in all your other filters of your ideal, client or candidate in there. And then if you click on the spotlights, you'll be able to identify people that have posted in the last 30 days. And that is an effective way to actually go be targeted, find people that have commented or posted in the last 30 days, go leave that thoughtful comment, and that'll be your first step to your conversation. Obviously, the other way is just kind of scrolling the feed, on a daily basis, and actually carving out time to engage with people. Scroll the feed, and if you have a good network, if you're actively growing your network of your ideal prospects, you should be. And that would be another way that you can go and do that. So that's how you would do the commenting thing there. Now, the next thing is taking and doing messaging, right, in the inbox and having a strategic campaign. So let's talk about a couple of the don'ts first. Don't pitch, right? Don't pitch. And what I mean by that is so many people get on LinkedIn, they connect with somebody, and the first thing they try to do is skip first, second, or third base and just go right for the home run, and start, pitching their services. It's not to say that you would always be 100% not effective with that. You might pick up a win here and there, but you're probably going to be burning more bridges along the way. It becomes tone deaf after a while. Maybe 5-6 years ago, you could pull something like that off. But now, you go out and you pitch your services right away. It's going to be tone deaf. The second thing is kind of falls into that. The second mistake is the person posts, or leaves a message, and it's all about them. I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. I want to talk to you. And it's all I. Most people are going to be, not receptive to a message like that, because all you're talking about is I. And so as you're creating your messaging strategy on LinkedIn, what you want to think about always is what's in it for the prospect. Okay. So here's kind of a high level example of what good would look like. One, I might just come out and I have a statement that is really relevant to them. So, I'm just going to pull something off the top of my head here. It might be like, hey, John, according to, the U.S. Labor Department, we are technically in a recession here. Boom, there's my statement. It's relevant. I'm talking to my market. Hey, I'm hearing from a lot of the recruiters out there, a lot of other recruiters out there that, their traditional efforts of attracting clients is affected by this, and they're starting to slow down a little bit. Hey, I recently just put together a training about ABC and just wanted to reach out and see if something that might be of value for you. Give me a yes or a thumbs up and we can go. So what I've done there is I've hooked them in with something that's relevant to them. I've established my credibility in the marketplace, by saying, hey, these are the people I speak with. I'm adding value to them by providing a resource. And then I'm asking for permission by not just spamming them with that resource, but saying, hey, would this be something of value to you? Now, when we approach it this way, a couple of really good things happen. One is your prospect is much more receptive to your messaging because you're not just spamming them. Two, you actually know who is engaging. So, a long time when I used to do this, and I've been doing this for 5-6 years now, I would just share the links. And then I realized one day, I was like, well, people could be clicking on these links all day long, but I have no idea who's interested and who's not. They're just clicking the link and then they go away. Whereas if I ask for permission and be like, hey, do you want this resource in this article? What have I done? I've now created dialogue. I've started the conversation. Once I start the conversation, then that's where everything else opens up. Right. And so that's really what you want to do. And so the other common mistake that I see is people get way too verbose. I've got a couple of them in there today that it's like, I would never even take the time to read it. They're like 3 paragraphs with 5 to 6 sentence paragraphs, all about how they can help my company, but it's all about them. Right. So if you've been playing this game on the LinkedIn messaging side and you're not getting the results that you want, consider making it about them. Make it short and sweet. 3-4 sentences, get out, and you'll be surprised. And that's really where the art is. The art is in being able to clearly convey your message and how you can get somebody to engage with you in those couple of sentences. Okay. And you should put together a routine, again, through Sales Navigator, target that audience, and, choose how many people you're going to reach out to every single day. And then, put through a drip follow-up from there. Okay. So the LinkedIn messaging box, those are some tips about, what's really working right now is asking thoughtful questions, sharing thoughtful, valuable information. Will get people to engage with you. And just keep in mind, be permission-based. Ask for people's permission. And hey, if it means that you're only going to get 5 responses a day, then hey, I'll take 5 quality responses that are permission-based than trying to go for some numbers that aren't going to be realistic. All right. So that's the messaging side. All right. So that's first we went over, commenting on other people's stuff. Now we went into the actual LinkedIn inbox. Now let's take this to the next step, which is the content creation. Now, for me personally, this is where I get most of my conversation started through LinkedIn. Is I create content consistently. I do these live videos consistently. Now, one of the things that you'll notice for those of you that follow me is create these live videos for independent recruiters and boutique recruiting agency owners. Anybody that follows me, that's not a mystery, right? And so that's the thing that you would want to focus on first is, well, who is your audience, and create your content and gear your content towards that specific audience. Most people are really consumed with the wrong things when it comes to social media. They're concerned with their impressions and their views and their engagement. And it's not to say that you shouldn't have that as being a part of, what you're tracking, so to speak. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'd rather have 500 targeted eyeballs of people that I know are my ideal client and them engaging with my content than 20,000 people engaging with my content that are random from 15 different industries. When you look at it, there's so much noise in the marketplace. You're going to have a lot more success when I'm speaking and helping people. And so with the content, there's really 3 buckets that I would recommend that you roll with. Okay. And I'm going to do a more extensive training on the content side here in the future. But the first bucket is the personal bucket. Yes, you should post personal things on LinkedIn. No, it shouldn't be about your cat and your dog. When you're saying personal things, it's, maybe sharing some personal things that go on your life that you can then share as a lesson learned, so people can get an idea of like, oh, Donnie's a family guy, or, Sherry's a mom, or Sherry's an entrepreneur owner. And here's some of the things that she's doing in her personal life to create routines and create success. Like, who are you as a person? Because now more than ever in this world, in the society we live in, is people buy people more than they're buying brands anymore. And so the more that you can really establish yourself as being, a thought leader, an authority, or somebody that's of value in your industry, you're going to be able to create conversations with that. And one of that things is just somebody getting to know exactly who it is, who you are. The next bucket is your value bucket. This is your authority bucket. This is where you're leaving that thought leadership, right? This is where you're coming in, you're planting flags in the ground. You're talking about the pains, the problems that your clients, and candidates are facing. You're creating a different vision for them. You're showing them, what life looks like now and what life can look like if they work with a valuable recruiter. You're talking about, all the different things from remote work challenges, interviewing challenges, educating them on the cost of a bad hire. You become the authority, when you're creating the content like that. And the more comfortable you get with putting yourself out there and doing it consistently without worried about being annoying or something like that, is really when, you're going to start making a lot of money. You're going to start making a lot of noise. You're going to start creating meaningful conversations. So, whoever's kind of come up with this whole thing of like how much you should post and all that, it's not a thing. The more you're out there, the more you're active, the more people are going to engage with you. So keep that in mind. Create your content and do it as consistently as possible. The third bucket is the proof bucket. And what I mean by the proof bucket is, hey, you say you're the best, recruiter in the engineering space. Well, now I'm going to show you. Of course, I'm going to say I'm the best, marketing lead generation coach in the recruiting space, but that's going to come a hell of a lot more powerfully if you hear that from my clients. So what you want to be doing here is really sharing 2 things. You want to be sharing the successes of your wins from both your clients and candidates. So case studies, testimonials, et cetera, from clients and candidates should be a part of your ongoing process. And they're not good enough. Okay. They're not good enough sitting on your website. They're not good enough only sending to prospects when we're trying to get a contract. They're not good enough sitting on your LinkedIn recommendation page. You need to sell this, and you need to put this in all of your content strategy. You need to be posting these types of things on LinkedIn. So that people can get an idea of your successes, right? People work with me because they know that the results I deliver are proven. That's one of the biggest things that gives them comfort. So again, if you don't have that as a part of your plan, or if you do have testimonial gathering as a part of your plan, but they're just sitting on your website, start sharing the story, start sharing the success, celebrate your clients and candidates and the wins that they're having. And then that gets your market again to see that, hey, you are what you say you are. And it gets your market to see how you really are passionate about what you're doing because you're celebrating your wins. The other thing of the proof, though, is actually on the front of it, which is just sharing your job postings a little bit more creatively through LinkedIn. Now, I'm not telling you to do this activity necessarily from, hey, I'm going to share this open position I have and hope that I just get this flood of really, really qualified candidates to reach out. You'll be surprised. You actually will, if you do this consistently through time, you'll actually create a lot of quality conversations with candidates. But more importantly, it's just about, again, being a part of my marketing strategy, my brand. I say I'm good at engineering recruiting. Here's a look at testimonial. Here's a look at some of the open positions I have, right? So that's really what's going to be powerful with your content. If you do the content, you have to be willing to be bold. You need to be willing to stick a flag in the ground. You need to be willing to say that cold calling sucks and the way of the future is through online marketing and lead generation, knowing that there's a part of the market that goes, oh no, I would never want to do that, right? So what is your cold calling sucks? What's your flag in the ground for your industry so that you can start, making some noise and cutting through some things. Good marketing is going to be playing on some sort of an edge there. Okay. The next thing that kind of ties into this that I've been able to generate a lot of conversations from is creating like problem aware polls. Okay. And LinkedIn, as you know, are probably pretty saturated on polls. So I'm not telling you or suggesting that you run a poll even on a weekly basis. I'm thinking more on like a bi-monthly or even quarterly basis. I do them quarterly for the most part. And I'll do a poll that really kind of taps into, again, maybe a problem in the market. So, I might do, hey, what's your number one way of, generating conversations with clients and candidates? And I'll put some, options out there, cold calling and social media and, email campaigns, for example. And then based on how people respond to that, then I might reach out and engage with that person individually right after, not right after the poll, they respond on the poll, but once the poll is complete. Hey, John, I noticed that you participated, in the poll I ran last week. Just wanted to go ahead and share the results with you as a thank you for taking the time to vote on the poll. Hey, I also noticed that you said, that you use cold calling, and we've got a great program to help people, get off the phones. Let me know if you'd be interested in talking more. Again, that's just off the top of my head there, but that's where you can take a poll, create some direct outreach off of it, finding areas that you help solve these problems for your clients, right? I'll do one like, hey, recruiters, we're heading into Q3. What's your biggest focus as we head into Q3? Is it finding clients, finding candidates, or building out your team? Now, all of those things in a way is what I help recruiting companies do. And so I then can follow up with a direct message outreach right off of that poll. So, again, you don't want to be doing this stuff on a daily or weekly basis. People get tired of polls. You don't want to become known as the poll guy. You certainly don't want to be known as the guy that creates a poll and people know what's going to come after, right? But if you're doing these strategically, you will be able to generate conversations. Pretty much every single time I run a poll, I get a client. So that's that poll strategy. Again, find kind of a problem aware type of a thing, and then that'll be able to create the dialogue that you're looking for. Okay. Now the last thing that will generate the calls, and I put this here for a reason, is actually your LinkedIn profile. And if you saw my training a couple weeks ago on how to stand out, you can go back to that training if you want and watch that. I kind of talk about the importance and the benefits in detail of building out your LinkedIn profile. But just to keep this on the high level, in all of these situations, whether I'm commenting on somebody stuff, whether I'm leaving somebody a message in my inbox or in their inbox, whether it's content creation, or whether it's a poll, which is a part of the content creation bucket, usually the next step is somebody's going to go visit my profile, right? They're going to come vet me out. Where most people put their LinkedIn profile is their LinkedIn profile just becomes, just another resume. So if you're not actively looking for a job, your LinkedIn profile should be, for lack of a better word, just kind of a sales page that communicates with your market. And so when somebody sees my comment, sees my messaging, sees my content, and they go vet me out, now I've got a page that's dedicated for them. If you look at my page, you'll see very clearly what I do, how I help recruiting companies, and then very specific next steps for people to be able to take through working with me. And that's why I put this as kind of the last part of this training here, is because that's the last step that people are going to take after they see your content, is they're going to go to your profile. They're going to go vet you out. What does your profile say about you? What are you doing to sell and differentiate yourself from the next recruiter out there? And if you don't have that figured out, that's a huge low-hanging piece of fruit. And if you were going to look at it as real estate, like this is your digital real estate. This is a part of, your whole entire, digital real estate portfolio. Well, make it yours, own it. Create a great headline, take your about section, make your about section a little bit more about you than it is your clients. Go ahead and take a look at my profile again as an example, and it's going to tell you exactly, kind of what you need to do here. Make sure you've got good content that's featured that, people can see a little bit more about what you're about, your thought leadership. And then again, have very clear action steps that you can have people take. So if you go to my profile right now, you'll see that there's an easy way to book a call with me. You'll see that there's an easy way to take a training, just depending on where you're at, right? So there are your tips for starting conversations on LinkedIn. These types of things can work for both clients and candidates. At the end of the day, it's all about attracting people. It's the same thing. Don't overthink that part of it. But if you aren't doing any of these things, pick one. If you're doing some of them, add another one to your chamber this week. And, if you're doing all these things but haven't seen results, maybe there's a little nugget you can take away and really start to apply this. Now, if you want some formal help, so we can, get you to stop wasting the time trying to figure this all out on your own, and you want to see exactly what's working, for myself and hundreds of other recruiters. If you want templates, if you want a, very streamlined plan of action, you want to learn how to work on your business while you're working in your business, we've got a complete program where that's exactly what we help recruiting companies do. So if you want to have a little bit of a free strategy session, and so we can talk about how my methodologies can apply and work specifically for your business, get you clarity on what the next steps are in your business and what types of things you're going to have to overcome. Let's get on a call. Let's talk. No pressure. Hey, if there's a fit for us to work together, we'll talk about it. But either way, this 45 minutes will get you clarity on what your next action steps should be to continue to grow your recruiting business. So drop a comment below if you're interested in that, or go ahead to my profile, go ahead and click that link to book a call, or shoot me a message, whatever you're comfortable with. And if you're into taking action, now's the time. We're looking for people to join the program right now and keep on moving their business forward. And now is your time to do that. So thank you guys for being here with me today. I appreciate all of you guys and your support, and I hope that there's value in all these trainings that I do. I enjoy them, and looking forward to speaking with you guys. Go kill it. We'll talk to you soon.